Hey everyone, welcome to Tuesday's edition of I Hate It Here. My name is Erica.
I'm Marissa.
Thank you for hopping aboard the Hot Mess Express, you guys.
All aboard. Welcome to the Hot Mess Express.
We did it again.
Choo choo.
How did we do that?
I don't know. Okay, hold on guys. We fucked that up. Let me tell you about how the Hot Mess Express is rolling today.
We are Hot Mess Express.
Okay, let's do it one more time.
All aboard. Welcome to the Hot Mess Express. Choo choo.
All right, we got it. So we already are starting on a fucked up note.
Oh, yeah.
So the way we do the show is like Marissa and I do it together. We do it. Oh, that got loud. Oops, sorry. Not on our end. On our end, that was super low.
Oh, that's because
Helen.
our...
Well, okay. So anyhow, Marissa and I flip houses every other show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll do one show at my house and we'll do the next at her house. And this week we just got...
We had a schedule. I think backtracking a little bit, we had a schedule when we had set days that like we would do it at Erica's house and then a set day at my house. So I don't know how we fucked up the schedule already. Like, I don't know what the fuck happened, but we fucked up the schedule and both Erica and I thought that today we were doing it at each other's house. So I showed up to her house and she showed up to my house.
And I get a text like, hey, are we doing the show today? And I text her back. I'm like, yeah, I just got here. Luckily, we only live 5 minutes away.
Yes, because if not,
we would have been totally fucked. So I rushed back over here. Yes, Fluggy, so that is why I didn't get to say goodbye on your show, which, by the way, you guys, if you're not tuning into my bestie Fluggy's show, you got to do it. His shows have been so fucking killer lately. Today he did some Dream Pop, which I was like, oh, because I really do like a lot of the artists that he was playing. But I didn't know that was what that genre was called. So I'm like, wait, did you make this up or is that what it's called? So he's on air. He's like, no, this is what it's called. It's like young kids in their bedroom. And I was like, oh, now you made me feel icky. Now I feel gross with you saying young kids in their bedroom. But it was so fucking good, Flug. Your shows have really been killing it. Great job. Okay, so anyhow, we're back. We scrambled to get everything set up. And, well, then we got it set up. Then we started going off tangent, cursing the day that we ever accepted corporate's fucking acceptance letter to that fucking company. Because
fuck that joint. Fuck that joint. I hope it burns to the ground. You know, like that ship that, like, and the bridge collapsed, by the way. I hope everyone's okay. I just hope somebody fucking hits that fucking building and it collapses to the ground.
I mean, if that company fucks us up, like, fucks us over even more, I don't know.
Like, I don't even work there. How are they fucking me over still? How?
It's gonna be a year for me.
Yeah.
And they still have me bent over, holding onto my ankles, with their... So guys, if you're looking for a job and you have these, empty promises of all this stock that you're going to get, I mean, don't get me wrong, we got the stock, but at a very heavy price.
Just know that...
It comes with the big price tag.
It comes with the big price tag, and you will need a lot of therapy. So... On top of dishing out your actual money.
Yeah. So they really fucked that place. Yeah. You should have called the DOJ on them.
Maybe I will. I don't think they've gotten their shit together since.
All right, guys. So today I actually have 2 fun stories, like that on top of like regular stories that I have banked for the show, right? So one of them. Well, let's just go to a song, and then I'll come back, and I'm going to start with the one that my family discussed on Friday, because it's kind of funny. It ties in with Thursday.
Oh, okay.
And then I will tell you guys my crazy story that I haven't even told Marissa, guys.
I know.
I flew downstairs this morning, and I, told my sister and my nephew, I'm like, guess what the fuck, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, what the fuck? And then, my next go-to would have been Marissa, but I was like, no, we have a show today. I have to fucking tell her this story face-to-face, so she does not know. And
I don't.
So
we're going to be hearing this together and reacting together.
Yes, so let's go to a song. All right, guys, we are back.
Yes.
Okay, so if you all didn't tune in on Thursday when we had Helen,
yes,
one of the things that we were talking about on that show was snitch talk.
Yes.
Right? So that is where, like, I fell into this, like, particular algorithm of TikTok where it's a bunch of people that will go on there snitching about other people's infidelity, right? So one of them, for instance, was like, hey, if your fiance was at his bachelor party here in Vegas and was at a day club at this resort, he's a total cheater, and like goes off, right?
Yeah.
Then there was another one about this girl who was on a flight to Chicago, and the person sitting next to her, Brian with the Y, as soon as he got on the flight, signed up for a Hinge account, and the whole 5-hour flight was just swiping, right? Setting up all these dates and meetups when there is clearly a wedding band on his finger. And he was talking, I forgot about this part. He would talk to his wife
on the phone.
So then she got on TikTok and was like, if your husband's name is Brian with the Y, looks like this, has this type of backpack, is headed to Chicago, just so you know, he's fucking other people while he's in Chicago because he just signed up for Hinge, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Long story short, that girl did a couple of videos of trying to get clout off Brian with the Y. And then the final conclusion was that the videos did get back to the wife. And the wife was like, I fucking know he does that and I don't give a fuck.
This is an agreement that we have. This is how our marriage works. So she totally looked like a nosy bitch like she is. And that's how we came up off of Snitch Talk.
Yes, so that's what we were talking about. One of the things we were talking about on Thursday. But so on Fridays, every other Friday, I do family dinner with my family here in Houston.
Yes.
So it's like my cousin, my uncle, aunt, like everybody, like the entire family, right? So we were out to dinner, and then I was telling them, we got into the subject of Snitch Talk, right? So I was telling them all about it. And then my cousin was like, oh my God, did you see? Because nobody I know has fallen into Snitch Talk, by the way.
Okay.
Nobody. Like, you haven't seen them. My sister, like, nobody. But luckily, my cousin has. Because we're a bunch of nosy bitches, and I guess
the algorithm was like, I got you.
Yes. We both love the scoop, so they were like, you bitches get to see these videos. But then she was like, did you hear, or did you see the TikTok about the lady who snitched on herself? And I was like, what?
Oh, what the fuck?
I'm like, why would she do that? So here's the story, guys, because it's wild. So there's this lady, right, who is married, has 2 kids. Her husband is in the military and has been stationed in Germany. Okay. Right? So he only comes home like 2 to 3 times a year, and stays only 2, 3, 4 weeks, like not a very long time. Yeah. But he's in Germany, right? So he's been doing that for a lot of years now. Okay. And so finally she got like lonely and desperate or whatever and decided to have an affair. Okay. Right? So she started having an affair with this man. And finally, like, it's now a year into having this.
So it's not just like a one time or just hooking up with people. It's a whole relationship.
Yeah, at this point, right? It's been a year. So then, I don't know why she hasn't been to his house before, but she finally gets to his house, goes over to his house, right? Oh, and by the way, she's now knocked up by this man, okay? By this guy she's having an affair with. Yeah. So she goes over to his house, and or maybe she had been there before, but just never really paid attention to the pictures on the wall. Okay. Right? She says she's walking by, and all of a sudden, in one of the pictures, sees her fucking husband in the picture. In one of the pictures. So she's like, oh my God, like, what is my husband doing here? Yeah. Like, what is he in that picture? But she can't also ask this dude, like, how do you know my husband? You know what I mean?
Oh, so does the dude not know she's married?
No.
Oh, shit. Okay, because I was going to be like, really? That's where you draw the line?
No, the guy doesn't know she's married.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
So then, she's like, how am I going to ask? So she's kind of looking at them, and he's like, so she starts pointing at, like, the different people in different pictures, right? Like, who's that person? Who's that person? Gets to the husband, and
Yeah.
she's like, oh, who's that person? And the guy was like, that is my brother.
No.
That is my brother. And she's like, oh, fuck. Because she had never, so her
What kind of marriages are these people at? Like in a Hispanic household, you meet the fucking dog. You go to the rancho, you meet everybody. I don't get how this happened.
I don't know. So anyhow, so like they have different, or they have the same father, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But they just did, like, we're never that close. Or that's what the husband told her.
Okay, so they're same father, different moms, didn't grow up in the same household.
Exactly.
Didn't have a relationship going on. So they're step
Yeah.
brothers. Okay.
So, like, half brothers. So the the husband always told her, I don't talk to that side of the family.
I see. Okay.
Right? But lo and behold, he does talk to that family, right? That side of the family.
Yeah.
So she's like,
I mean, there's a fucking picture.
So she's like, oh, is that your, oh, she's like, oh, so are you guys close? You and your brother? And he's like, yeah, we're very close.
Oh?
So she's like, oh, and he's like, yeah, he lives in Germany right now with his wife and his kids.
Oh, fuck.
And she's like,
everybody's just having secrets up in this bitch.
and she's like, his wife and his kids. She's like, what the fuck? Because, like, she's here.
Because she's the wife and
here, right?
Because she's the wife and the kids. Yeah.
No, and he's like,
it's a whole nother family.
lo and behold, breaks out of their fucking album, and there's the husband in Germany with a new wife and 2 kids.
See, this is what...
So now, I don't know. I haven't gone back to look at the, like, other videos. I don't know if she's done a follow-up or what the fuck. I will keep you guys posted, but that's as far as I've gotten.
Okay, but why does she go to the internet?
And tell people, because people are fucking shameless.
Was she like, I'm the victim in this whole thing? Or was she like, what was her perspective, or what was her, her angle?
Or just like, oh shit, like, this is what's happening. And
I done gotten fucked up now.
And now I'm pregnant with the brother. Like, the brother's
But
baby.
imagine that conversation. How can you turn around and point the finger at someone and be like, you totally cheated and have another family and kids, but I slept with your brother. So, like, how do you...
I don't know. And how do you tell the man that you told you weren't married,
Yeah.
that you are married?
That you are married to the brother, but now you're pregnant with his kid, and your kids are gonna have, your kids and your brother's kids are gonna be some weird uncle, brother situation happening.
I don't know. Isn't that the craziest shit? And, well, first of all, that story's completely wild, right?
Crazy.
But the fact that she went on the internet, as we're supposed to put it, and threw her business out there, I would never.
I mean, at that point, though, what do you have to lose? Like, what? If I can make a couple $100 off of my pain, sure. If I can go viral.
Well, she's going to have to support those kids somehow.
That's what I'm saying.
Baby daddy less on both sides.
On both sides. And those are going to be some really awkward Christmases and holidays and family tree projects.
Oh, not the family tree.
Because it's all going to connect.
This is my brother cousin. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are you going to do? Just be like, this is my uncle and my brother.
So you guys, as much as I fucking hate TikTok, I also love it. I'm not going to lie.
People are wild.
I'm not gonna lie. Fucking TikTok is a wild, wild land, and I love it.
Wow. So, but you know what? I think I like, because there's times where I'm like, God damn, was I like a puppy kicker in the past life? No, this bitch got me beat. Because the universe said, mm-mm.
So that is that story, guys.
Wow.
I mean, how fucking crazy is that?
I mean, but what do you do at that point? Like, if you're the girl, what do you do?
I mean, she has to fess up.
Does she?
Fuck yeah, she does. She can't stay with the man that thinks that she's not married. Start a life with him. Fucking brother comes to visit from Germany.
He can bring his new wife. He can bring his new wife and kids, and then we can all pretend we don't know each other.
It could be a whole new modern family.
It could be a whole new modern family.
I don't know. That is so crazy. But God bless you, TikTok, and your crazy ass people with their crazy ass stories.
And these people that have no shame, good for them.
I know. So let's jump into a song. You guys, I know the chat I could see it moving from the corner of my eye, but I haven't read anything. So Marissa will comb through, and then we will be back with some of the comments, and then I get to tell you guys my story.
Yes, but put it in the chat. What do you guys think of the story? What do you think this lady should do? Would you put this out on the internet? If this was your situation, or do you know somebody like that? Let us know.
I mean, she has to be doing it for the paycheck, but yeah,
I would too. I mean, at that point,
let us know, guys. All right, guys, we are back. Marissa, how crazy was the chat?
Everybody was intrigued. Everybody was hooked. We were ready. We got the popcorn out, and we were ready to go. It says, so it looks like Flex says, all the comadres. Everybody was like, oh, shit, whoa. Like, everybody was kind of, like, flabbergasted as the story took twists and turns. But Eric says, at least the kid's DNA will match. Helen says that she needs that algorithm with all her heart and soul. She needs to land on the snitch talk algorithm to get those stories.
Helen, next time I get one, I will send it to you so that you can watch it and start like getting one of those videos. Yeah. But people are wild.
She's saying she was trying to get that Risa Tisa money, right?
I think everybody's trying to get that Risa Tisa money.
Like, yeah.
Which, by the way, TikTok totally fucked her over, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she did end up getting money, but not through TikTok. Like, that brought her the
visibility.
The story. But they totally screwed her over and paid her, and luckily she
got partnership deals and stuff and all like that stuff. Yeah.
But don't think you're going to get that cash from TikTok. They're like, fuck no, they're going to find a way to screw you over. And not
no, but if someone wants to sponsor my gas, by all means, who am I to say no? Flug says, I cheated, but then so he was trying to recap the story. I cheated, but then he cheated, so I cheated and found out he cheated. Just a regular Tuesday. Katie says, just get a divorce already. But how do you bring that up, though? Because it's been like, this is not like, hey, it happened right now. Like, this man has been gone to Germany for years, and the relationship and the marriage has worked for years. I mean, she didn't know he had a whole nother family, but that's a different story.
And how does he, like, get benefits for both families?
Maybe the other family, I don't know. That's a very good question.
Right? Like, because they get military benefits.
Yeah.
But how does he get benefits for both wives? I mean, all the kids I can see, right? Because he can have...
Well, but he does also live in another country, so maybe he...
But no, it's a U.S. military.
But maybe because she's a resident... Because she has to be from over there.
Oh, true.
She doesn't... You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't need the benefits for herself, just for the kids. Or she gets benefits for her.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That's wild.
Yeah. Flug agrees with me, and he says it like Marissa's right. At that point, all you really need to do is have a crazy story. I'm like, yeah, because I mean, what else can you do with it at that situation? He says, my friend told me a story of a kid who found out his dad had a second family because he befriended his dad's other son. He went over to his house and was like, why do you have pictures of my dad on your fridge? And the other kid was like, that's my dad.
Dang, Daddy's been around the neighborhood.
Like, yeah, he has. Been a Rolling Stone.
Oh, shit.
Helen says, I'm proud of the girl for breaking glass ceilings and having secret families.
I mean, whatever.
We'll call it a win.
Win for feminism right there.
Women's History Month, guys. What can we say?
All right, guys. So now here's my crazy story.
All right, let's do it.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yes.
But not. Because it's kind of weird. And creepy. Okay, so last night, I'm getting ready for bed.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of mine from Vegas sends me a text with, like, a screenshot of his TV. And on it is Netflix, that show Homicide.
Which one?
It's called Homicide. It just came out a couple days ago.
Oh, okay.
I think they have other
it,
seasons of it.
Okay.
But this season just came out. And on it is like a man that's been arrested, and that is our old general manager.
What the fuck?
He was... So anyhow, you can see the closed caption, and it's like, Evan, and I'm totally giving his name because it's fucking public, and fuck that guy. So it's
I mean, shit, if he's got a whole fucking Netflix...
Yes.
If he's a fucking...
Yeah, he's already down in jail for this.
Yeah.
But it's like, Evan Wald arrested for homicide. And so I was like, what the fuck is this, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, that's Evan, our old GM. I'm like, no, I know that's Evan, but what the fuck? So he's like, it's on Netflix. He got busted for killing his brother-in-law. So I was like, oh my God. So of course, there goes me going to sleep, right? And
you're like, cheese man first.
Absolutely. So,
I would have too, girl.
So now I'm wide awake.
I'm down a couple of Red Bulls and they're like, let's see this.
Laptop is up, guys.
Yeah.
And Netflix is on. But, so before I tell you guys, because I'll read you guys the story of Evan and like the whole craziness of it, right? So this was 20 years prior to us working with him. So he already had committed the murder.
Oh, when you guys met him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he actually, they didn't have enough evidence to put him
at that time,
okay. Right? Because like technology hadn't caught up and blah, 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 right? So anyhow, this is when I worked at a casino resort that is in Las Vegas. That sounds like the Schmoms. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was at that time when Evan got hired. He was the general manager for the restaurant I was a sommelier at, and he hated me, guys. Like when I say hated, like I mean hated with the passion.
Yeah, but like a capital H.
Like you can just like, you know, when somebody hates you so much,
when they they despise you, and you're like, I feel the hate coming through your eyeballs.
Oh yeah, and I would thrive off of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he was a creeper, guys. He was like, and he's a tall man, and he wasn't like totally like buffed out, but he was big enough that it was intimidating.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And he would get very close to you, like, and like when he would try to like, because he was kind of like a bully.
Yeah.
Right? So if he wanted me to do something, like I didn't report to him. He was the general manager of that restaurant, but I reported to the wine director for our company, right? So I didn't really like have to listen to him. And like he would want me to do some shit that I'm like, I can't fucking do that, sir. Like I can't be giving this guest a $200 bottle of wine. Who's going to write it off?
Yeah.
You know? I'm like, no, I will be in fucking trouble. So, like, just instances like that, right?
Yeah.
And he was a total creeper. I would just get the icks off of him.
Ooh.
And he was always sexually harassing the hostesses at the restaurant.
Oh.
And our hostesses, it's Vegas, guys. So they have them dressed like provocatively, right?
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, this is just the way Vegas is, but you're hired as a quote-unquote model first.
Yes.
Not as a host. So all these girls are very cute, very hot.
Yeah.
And so the way it worked, that particular restaurant was on the 52nd level.
Oh, shit.
So, of course, guests would come up the elevator, right? And once the elevator doors opened, first thing you would see was the hostess stand. And so our little hostesses were there, and they were like, I'm telling you, the way they had to dress was like a bustier. It was just a very like
Vegas, very
Vegas. They were Vegas out, right? But the way the hostess stand was kind of also like a little island in the front. You know what I mean? So you could, So like you could go in from multiple sides.
Yeah.
So anyhow, and it was like behind the hostess stand was of course the wall that had like the restaurant name and blah blah blah, right?
Yes.
So what he would do is like, he would like go check the reservations on the computer and like see who is coming and blah, blah, blah. Right. But he would like sneak in to the hostess stand, like behind the girls There was enough room.
Yeah.
But it wasn't wide enough. Yeah, between the wall and where the girls would stand.
Yeah.
She scooched behind them. I mean, he could have walked around the other way,
no,
right?
No, he would
like scooch behind them, and then he would put his hands on their waist.
Oh.
And then kind of like shuffle like very close behind them.
Oh.
So it was so gross that he would do this. And so when I was at tables, like with working or like with customers or whatever, with like wine or doing wine stuff, like I would make it my business to be up at the host stand,
right,
with the girls, so that he wouldn't be where, like, he would steer clear of me, guys.
Okay,
and you know what I mean.
So if you were there, he wasn't going to be there, so it would give them some comfort,
especially because I was like, again, I didn't report to him, so he couldn't necessarily like do anything to me, and then also the chef of the restaurant had more clout than him, and I was super close to the chef.
Okay,
you know what I mean. So I was very protected by chef. Yeah. So he just didn't fuck with me. Yeah. Right. So anywhere I was at, he'd be in the opposite side. Okay. So I would hang out with the hostesses a lot. Finally, he just got obsessed with one of the hostesses. Oh. And she was gorgeous, by the way. She was like first generation Italian. So she kind of looked a little like Sophia Loren, kind of like she was very like the olive skin, like black hair, green eyes, just beautiful girl. Yeah. Natalia. So he was always like after her. Like if Natalia was there, like he was up and trying to like be like handsy on her, and you know. So finally, and like one time I went into the bathroom and she was in there crying. Oh no. Just because like she just couldn't take it anymore. And so I'm like, Natalia, I can't go to, like, I can go to HR and say something. Right. I'm like, but I can't, like, they're not going to listen to me because he's not doing it to me. Right. She needs to be the one to go. So if you need me to, I will go with you. I have been witness to it. The other girls will, like, I'll get the other girls to speak up because they were all they're young. They were between 18 and 20 years old. Right. I don't think any of our hostesses were even 21. Right. You know, so
because they hire them on these like model contracts, so they're typically super young.
Yeah, they're young and whatever, right? Yeah. So I'm like, I'll be there for you guys, walk you through this or whatever. Like I've seen it, like but I can't be the one to say anything because he hasn't done anything to me. Long story short, I get all the girls. They go to HR. It's a lot of cases. There's no denying it. People are speaking up because the servers were all male at that restaurant. Okay. And even like they would after a while, they started getting super protective over the girls because he was such a creeper. Yeah. And so like everybody started speaking up. He got fired. Okay. Right. So anyhow, he was just a creeper of a guy. Right. Ew. And anyhow, so Caesar sent me the information yesterday. I was like, oh, fuck that guy, Evan. Like I want to now send letters to whatever prison he's at and fucking tell him it's well deserved and to fucking rot in that cell. Like I really want to go off on this guy. Oh. But so that's my story. But let me read you guys the entire story because it's gross. Okay. Okay. So I pulled this one off the Daily Mail just because it gave a little more information. And I did not want to pay for New York Times.
We don't do that.
No, fuck New York Times too. They're a terrible publication. Anyhow. A woman and her brother have each been sentenced to 25 years to life for the 1996 murder of her wealthy husband to get their hands on his $1.2 million life insurance, despite her son's pleas for leniency following the stabbing of his dad. Rosalind Pilmer and her brother Evan Wald were found guilty of second-degree murder of 40-year-old Howard Pilmer by a jury in state Supreme Court in Manhattan in March. And this was of 2019. Okay. Okay. Judge Gilbert Hong had been told by the Pilmer's son, Phil. Oh, well. So I'll get back. Let me go a little forward because I'll have to come back to that. Yes. Okay. Prosecutors spent more than 2 decades trying to find suspects in the 1996 murder of wealthy businessman Howard. Howard, a successful entrepreneur who owned an office supply store and a coffee shop, was stabbed 40 times outside his New York City office. Like 40 times. What fucking kind of monster? Damn. Right? In a victim statement, Assistant U.S. Attorney Philip Pilmer, who was 10 years old when his dad died, said, "I struggled for years and came to accept things and move on."
Oh.
Well, so the kid, we'll go back to the kid. I think he's been totally brainwashed by the mom.
But at that point, he was 10 years old when that happened?
Yeah, he was only 10 when the dad
was murdered.
Yeah. Prosecutors said Rosalind and Wald plotted the murder of Howard Pilner in order to inherit a $1.2 million life insurance policy. They alleged that Rosalind fell into a debt after she was caught stealing $160,000 from the dentist's office she worked as a dental hygienist. So this bitch is just embezzling and just killing for money.
Killing for money.
She then promised to pay the money back, though she did not tell her husband about it and kept it a secret. Prosecutors say that in the days leading up to the murder, Rosalind was receiving frequent telephone calls about her debt, including from the IRS, which was demanding $14,000 in unpaid taxes. So she owes
the dentist and the IRS.
Yep.
Oh, fuck. Everybody's coming after her.
Frank Pilmer, 90-year-old, Philip's grandfather and Howard's father, called the sentencing Monday perfect. Hold on. Did I skip? No, I didn't. I did skip a little. I'm sorry. The government threatened to shut down one of her husband's coffee bars, which she was running.
Oh.
So she was going to be found out regardless.
And she hadn't told the husband, so...
No.
They threatened to shut down the husband's business.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So, oh my God, sorry guys. This story, I thought I had picked the right story. I guess not. Well, long story short, what they did was they had, I'm not even going to read the story anymore because it's jumping around.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what I saw on Netflix. So she's in debt, right?
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't want to tell the husband. So they plot, and then in the Netflix series, they're also talking about how Evan and the brother have a very tumultuous relation. The brother-in-law have a tumultuous relationship, right? Because Evan's running one of the coffee shops and thinks he's like the hot shot.
Oh,
like this is my coffee shop. When they'd be like, Howard wants things like this. He's like, this is how I'm fucking doing it.
Yeah. And he thinks he's the boss.
He did, and he would throw like multiple like tantrums and like act out terribly in front of like customers, and he's just horrible to work with. So what they did is that they decided, like, he supposedly went to the gym with his brother like that evening that he got murdered.
Okay.
And they were going to go back to the office where Rosalind was at, because Rosalind was going to call and say like, oh, I need help closing up because I can't do blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happens. And when they get to the office, that's when they kill him. Right?
Okay.
So they know, like, at this time, investigators are like, it all points to them, but they don't have solid evidence.
Okay.
They can't find solid evidence. There's one drop of blood that didn't match the rest of the DNA.
Okay.
Evan's hands have multiple cuts, because when you stab somebody that many times, like, you're going to get injured yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So, but technology wasn't at that point that they can for sure say that's Evan's blood, right? So they were like, we either test it now and it could come out not his, and we lose the entire sample, or we like have to wait. So that's why they didn't end up arresting him.
Okay.
And her, because they didn't have solid evidence.
Mm-hmm.
But the case got brought up, like, you know, people go through like cold cases, they bring them back up. So that's what they did with this one. And technology's advanced. So they were able to get the DNA. Then they got the nanny's story about how, like, that night, Rosalind was, like, acting super weird when before she was very direct. Like, I'm going to be home at this time. I need, like, this is, like, she was very much on a schedule.
Yes.
And that day she told the nanny, like, go pick up Philip and I will be, like, I don't know what time I'm getting home. Like,
so that was not usual.
Yeah, it was very unusual. Okay. She's like, take him to hockey practice. I will.
Sorry about that, guys.
I don't know when I'm going to be home. Like, and then she called her at the rink, which she had never done, because remember, guys, this is also a time where cell phones aren't.
They're not big.
They're not big. They're available, but they're not big at that point.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. So she has to, like, use a
A payphone
and page her.
Okay.
At the rink. And so the nanny's like, what the fuck? Because she's never done that.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, I'm just checking in. And she's like, no, everything's fine. She's like, okay. Then like an hour later, calls again to the rink and is like, oh, I don't know what time we're going to be done here. And so the nanny was like, okay. So said that when she got home, Rosalind like was in a bathrobe. Mm-hmm. Her hair was already wet, like she had just showered, and like wouldn't even let her in the door, which she's never been like that. She's never seen, like, in all the time that she worked for them, mm-hmm. Rosalind was always very put together, always done, always welcoming, and would end her day with her and like chit chat. They were like very girly girls together, right? But that particular day was like, no, like get the fuck out, right?
Yeah.
And the reason this kind of ties into everything is that Rosalind, that dumb bitch, left a voicemail at her husband's, because the story that Evan and Rosalind told were like, oh, he went to go close up the office and we just left. Like he was going to stay and do more work.
Okay.
We don't know who fucking killed him.
Right.
Like,
we weren't there, yeah.
We were there, but we left. And to try to cover her tracks, she leaves a voicemail on the husband's office line saying like, Howie, it's me. I know that you're going to be going to the, like he was supposed to go to some game with a friend of his, like to go watch a game. Okay. And so she was like, I think it should be over at like blah, blah, blah time. And I'll see you when you get home. Like it was just a very odd call, especially her leaving that message when he was supposed to be watching the game. And it was like 30 minutes before he would have been home.
Oh.
So like the timing was off. Everything was weird. But like with her, like with the nanny, the DNA, they were able to break the case. And now those two are in fucking jail. But they scot-free, like living their life for 20 years. And during this time, the son is being raised by the mom, and she's like turned him against like the dad's family, mm-hmm. and has been, I mean, she's not going to be, she loves her kid. She's not going to mistreat the kid.
Yeah.
Has been like a great parent, sends him, like he's graduated from business school in London, and just like.
He's had a comfortable life.
Yeah, so the family is completely heartbroken because they, like, not only did they lose the son, but they lost the grandson, who was like the son of his only son, right? And is a spitting image of his dad.
Oh.
So they hadn't seen him in years, and then he's in court and like testifies on the mom's behalf.
Oh.
And like wants nothing to do with like his dad's family.
Yeah.
So that's a story. That's Creeper Evan, and I fucking knew something was off with that guy.
Oh. Like, isn't it crazy, though? Because sometimes you get some weird... Like, I've met some people that I'm like, ooh, you're going to have your own fucking Dateline story or something. Like, you are going to be in some sort of news that I don't want to be a part of, and you just get those creeper vibes, and it is fucking insane.
I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. Vegas, you get a lot of creeper vibes, right?
Yeah, no, but...
But, like, with him, it was just, like, the sensors were off. Like, you just... Like, I just felt that... Like, he just... put up the red flags all the time. And so that like Caesar sending me that story yesterday, I was very vindicated. Yeah. I was like, fuck you, you fucking creeper. Yeah. I really hope he rots in fucking prison. Guys.
He should. Like that.
But I'm like, oh my god, he could have killed me. But the hate that he had.
You're like, oh shit. He's really capable of that shit. Because sometimes you're like, who gives a fuck? Like, hate me, bitch. And then you find out that they're really capable. You're like, oh dang.
Shit, yeah.
My life was really in danger. And I was over here antagonizing.
I did, guys. I did. So that's the story. So let's go to a song.
Yes, put it in the chat. Let us know. Have you ever encountered someone like that that just puts up all the red flags, gives you the ick, and then later you found out that they're seriously twisted, or they did something horribly wrong?
You see, and with him, I thought he was going to be like, quite honestly, I thought like years from now, we'd find him with like child porn on his computer, or just like, or he really sexually harassed somebody, or like, but like, cold-blooded murder like this, like stabbing his brother-in-law 40 times.
40 plus times? Dang.
That's wild. All right, guys, let's go to a song and we'll be right back. You guys, I'm sorry. We lost track because I was showing Marissa pictures
of the guy.
Evan.
Yeah.
And one of them, I'm like, oh my God, because I was like, that's what he looked like when he was like my general manager, because of course he's aged, blah, blah, blah. But also in that picture, he kind of looks like Buster from Arrested Development.
He does. I was like, oh my God.
So
look him up. You'll see.
that actor can now play him in this movie.
In this movie.
Okay.
Oh man.
So Marissa, what's going on in the chat?
Everybody was just saying what a fucking creep. Katie was says sometimes you can judge a book by its cover, which is totally true. Like, don't. I know it's mean to say that, but when someone gives you total red flags or you're like, I can't trust this person, like, listen to your gut instincts. Don't ignore that. Mm-hmm. Because that could, you never know, that could save your life. So, who knows? Helen says he was the definition of ick. Fleg says it's a whirlwind story. Absolutely. And it's crazy because you always see these on TV. Uh-huh. And you're like, dang, like, because I know I always see it, and all the family and everybody was their story is always like, we never saw this coming. Like he was a totally good person, and he was this, and he was just the essence of fucking perfection. But there are people when you look at them that you're like, something's off. Wrong with you. Uh-huh. Something's off, and I cannot believe that all you fucking people looked at this person and said, no, it's fine. Like, that's just a quirk. No, that's not a quirk.
Yeah, he was definitely a creeper. I'm telling you guys, Vegas is full of these fucking characters. Now I'm like, what kind of background checks are they doing up in that bitch, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, casino one, like when you're working for a casino itself, like it's, they really go through, like you really put through the fucking ringer to get a job at one of these places, right? But we were just, the company, this particular company that I work for, we ran all the nightclubs and restaurants in this said casino. Yeah. Right? So evidently their background checks weren't that crazy.
Weren't great.
I mean, and I don't know what time are
we
at?
But also, how does he land a fucking GM, like, role? Like,
well, because he was running the coffee shop, and I guess as, like, the 20 years that he went unnoticed, or, like...
and he just forgot to say that he stabbed his boss.
Well, I mean, but he wasn't found guilty at that time, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't have anything against him.
No, but what I'm saying is that it's always these people, if you look at these type of stories, that end up in like some weird high position, or you know what I mean? And you're just
so
like,
I think just working in the service industry, he moved himself up.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like corporate America where you need fucking a degree in the restaurant world, right? In hospitality, you just move up with experience. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. So quick story before we are off the air, because now I just thought of this one. So so after I left working at the Schmoms, yes, I started working for another restaurateur. He's a fat fuck with red hair that was part of the Me Too movement. Worst fucking job I ever had, guys. The worst. Yeah. I fucking hated working for this fat fuck and for his piece of shit garbage company. I was only there 9 months, and then I pieced out and moved back to Texas. Yeah. But in this particular time, again, I was running like beverage program, whatever, right? So it was between two restaurants that I was going back and forth at, right? Yeah. And this was now I'm at a resort that sounds like the Schmanishan. Yes. And that's where this restaurateur, chef, whatever, had his restaurants, right? So one of them was very, very like high dining, like fine dining, right? Like very prestigious, very like set menus, only X amount of people, like per like seating. Yes. And it was very fine dining. And then the one kind of on top of it was more like casual, like pizza, like a pizza. Pizza was the main thing on there. Okay. And they had like other dishes, but it was like also open. Like it was just more like
laid back. Yeah.
Super, super duper relaxed. Right. Yeah. And at that particular restaurant, they had a lot of turnover in management. Okay. Just because it was open from like early morning, like it was just longer hours, and it would burn people, like burn out managers. But he would also hire like that one, because they were like, if they couldn't keep experienced managers, is what I should say. So they would hire a lot of young kids.
So that's a place that they would go to get the experience
yes,
and then move
especially
on.
because you wanted to have this person, like say I worked at this person's restaurant for this company because that before me too, he was pretty
prestigious.
So fuck him and his orange Crocs. Is what I have to say. So anyhow, he would hire all these young kids, right? Well, one of them was a hot mess, and he would like go party after work or whatever, because there's, of course, every casino resort has like all these nightclubs and bars and lounges or whatever, right? And like people who kind of work in that industry, you kind of start knowing them because they'll stop and grab something to eat at your restaurant before, or like so you just kind of start meeting people that work in different areas of the casino, right? So and then you start getting the hookup, like, after work, pop in and I'll get you a drink, blah blah blah. So you kind of start doing that kind of bullshit, right? So Shmami being, I mean, I guess I can probably give his name because as the story goes, you'll know why. He was kind of new to management, new to like this kind of like environment and privilege, I guess, because
there's I guess some benefits.
There's a lot of benefits that you get where like with these trade-offs, right? And so after work, when he was young, he would go party, and he had like a drinking problem. And so like there'd be plenty of times where we'd walk into the restaurant and he'd be passed out.
Oh shit.
From like he just wouldn't
from the day before.
Right? So
he didn't even make it home.
No, he's like, fuck it.
I gotta wake up here anyway. So.
Right? So there was one time, like in particular, one day that he did that, and he already was like on the brink of getting fired because he had been caught twice before. So this was his third offense. Right? And the other manager was like, come on, Tommy, like, we got to get you out of here. Like, you're going to fucking get fired. Like, we got to get you out. And so a lot of fighting back and forth to get him into a cab.
To get him home.
Because obviously he can't drive, right? So finally, the other manager gets him in a cab, gets him out of there. Nobody except like the chef of that restaurant, like some of the line cooks and the chef of that restaurant and that manager and like an opening server know what's happening, and they all make a pact like, we're not fucking saying that we found him, right? Like they're all trying to save this kid and his job or whatever, right? So anyhow, come to find that this guy gets like, it takes a, like, I guess he dropped him off at home, somehow gets another cab right back to the casino to get his car, gets on the road, and ends up killing somebody.
Oh, no.
Yep.
What the fuck? He was already home.
I know. So went back for his car and ends up like manslaughter for like running somebody over.
God dang.
I know. Vegas is crazy.
It is a crazy place. But before we wrap up, we do have a story from Katie that she put in the chat. So she says, former core worker, we were in our mid-20s, came off kind of awkward, but generally nice, but always seemed to be dating like 19-year-old girls. So that was a little bit weird. He quit the job, kept in touch occasionally. A year later, I found out he was busted by the FBI for soliciting sex online from teenage girls. Can't believe the alarm bells didn't go off in my head earlier. Well, no, because it wasn't like...
It wasn't such a huge age gap.
Yeah,
I mean,
mid-20s, 19.
I mean, it's a little... I mean, he's not going for the 14, 15,
16, yeah. Or maybe that's what maybe he was just telling them we're 19. Maybe. Who knows? Because I will say, some people look way older.
Oh, she says, I think he was busted when he was 29. Okay, well, if he's still soliciting 19-year-olds, or, I mean, very underage girls. That's disgusting.
That's gross. But yeah, there are some people that you just, they're fucking, it's weird what goes through their head, and you're just kind of like, whoa. Yeah. I totally died that one time.
Right? That's so gross. All right, guys. So that is our hour. We are up. I didn't even read any of the stories we pulled.
No, we didn't.
But of these stories, but they were interesting.
And now I got to go back and look at that
It's like episode 4, guys, on Homicide. It just came out a couple days ago. It's episode 4, and it's called the Midtown Slasher.
Okay.
So you'll get the facts from there. And stuff,
yes, we'll go take a look at it. Everybody come back Thursday and let us know.
We're giving everybody homework.
Yes, everybody's getting homework today. Everybody. No, but definitely, like, it's crazy to see.
I know. There's a couple people that you and I have worked with, Marissa, that...
Yes. I know they're going to end up in some sort of fucking documentary. And I cannot wait because I'd be like...
let's put this on tape right now. Cool Breeze.
Yes!
Cool Breeze that we work with.
That motherfucker's going to be hip thrusting in someone's face and something else.
Yeah. So Cool Breeze and
I'm calling it.
The Octopus.
Yes.
Those two, we're going to, in a couple years, we're going to be like, oh my God, you guys, we called them out on this show, and those fucking guys
are now in prison.
Yep.
And I hope they're somebody's bitch.
Yep, I'm calling it right now. Fuck those people.
Mm-hmm.
With that, you guys, thank you so much for thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate your time. We will be back on Thursday.
Yes.
For another edition of I Hate It Here. Then we have Fluggy coming on with us on April 11th for Songs We Hate. And looking at the calendar, guys, on April 9th, Marissa and I are going to celebrate our 2-year anniversary of I Hate It Here. We still haven't figured out what the fuck we're going to do for that show.
Absolutely not.
But we plan on doing something special for
something will come up, I'm sure. Yeah. So, no, but I can't believe it's been 2 years.
2 years of us. We just raw dogged the first show, remember?
And we're still doing it today.
Just hit play and raw dog the airwaves, and here we are now.
And here we are now, 2 years later. But yeah, so definitely let us know if you have stories that you want to share with us, or if you want to call in. The line's always open. But also, if you want to collaborate on Songs We Hate or anything else, or if you want to be a special guest on The Morning After, or just anything else. If you have stories that you want to share with us. Our dating correspondent, I want her to find love. I do, even though I was joking that I was going to break up her relationship. Yeah, I think she needs a break every once in a while, even though she loves the stories and already has some, by the way. The next day she's like, oh, I already have stories for you. And my God. Save it for next month, Helen. Yes. But Helen, our dating correspondent, I think we need to help her out a little. So we need to help her out and give her a break a little bit. So... yes, if you want to participate in The Morning After, you have a story. And keep in mind, guys, like, it doesn't have to be about dating. It could be just a crazy story that you woke up the next day and you're like, what the fuck? Yep. Like, what happened? And I'll probably fess up on one that I have that I've been sitting on. I'm like, should I tell this story? But it paints me in a very ugly picture. But I will tell it anyway. Why not? Because why not? Yes, but if you guys want to participate, if you guys want to collaborate, let us know. You can always slide into our DMs on our Insta, and our handle is IHIHWHS. For the regular I Hate It Here, Work Life Horror Stories. The rest, find them on our link tree. Yes. Yes, you guys can find them on our link tree. Make sure you guys tap in. But with that, we'll leave you all with this last song. All right, guys. Thank you, and we'll be back Thursday. We'll see you here. Okay, bye.